Hello and welcome to another episode of Yellfire, Conversations to Combat the Lie of White Supremacy. I'm your host, Craig Pelkey Landis, random white dude. Excited about this episode. My guest today is Kim Crayton. She leads a project called Life Beyond the Supremacy Myth. It's a newsletter. It's work with, especially, this is pretty cool. She works with especially white men to live beyond the white supremacy myth. So, you know, this is not work that certainly black women are required to do. So, the fact that Kim has chosen this work to focus on is a testament to her. So I'm excited to have you guys hear this conversation. And I'll give you links to she's got a newsletter. There's an upcoming book the fall, all around life beyond the supremacy myth. So thanks again for taking time to listen or watch. Like and subscribe, leave comments, and appreciate you. Well, Kim Crayton, thanks so much for joining me. Thanks for joining us here on Yellfire, Conversations to Combat the Lie of White Supremacy.
Oh, I love that name. I love that title.
Yeah. Well, I have to use a subtitle. Oops. I have to use a subtitle because Yellfire, could mean a lot of things. It's comes from a song by Michael Franti, and the lyrics kind of spell it out. But anyway, yeah, that's what we're here for. Appreciate you being on. Let's start out by just telling us a little bit about yourself, about your work, however much you want to share.
Ooh, wow. Okay. I won't give you the work before. Okay. Okay. So let's start here. I used to run a community called Cause a Scene, and that was when Twitter was really a place where even marginalized people could find pockets to be safe and build community.
Mm-hmm.
And that was before the person took over. And
Yeah,
so I started that movement because I was just sick of people lying, sick of people. I was like, fuck it, I have nothing to lose. I was just calling
yeah,
people out. I just wanted to
yeah,
call people out because nobody was doing it. I'm like, I'm just tired of this. And so, but then as black women often find, that's not the kind of work that's sustainable.
huh.
It's draining, it's burnout, and and so I saw that, and it also doesn't address what I want. That was what I don't want. I don't want to spend my life
Mm,
fighting for what I don't want, against what I don't want. I'd rather build and fight for what I want.
yeah.
And so I let that go. I wrote my book, Profit Without Oppression.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I really started digging into dreaming about um, could we have an economic system? Because people rail against capitalism, and I have a problem with that because capitalism is not the problem. Capitalism is a theory. It's how it's been implemented in the United States and globally. That's the problem. In the United States, it's been specifically implemented to justify the enslavement of Africans and the annihilations of indigenous people.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
when that's the root of your economic system and you export that around the world, it is going to be rooted in harm and exploitation and all these things. So I started thinking about, I wanted to live in a supremacy free, coercion free, discrimination free, and exploitation free world. And what would that look like? What would businesses look like?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the problem we have. And that was also why I made the shift. I can wake people up, but wake them up to go where?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We don't
Absolutely.
have anything to turn to.
Mm-hmm.
So I get why people, every time something happens, they want, the council culture, you need to boycott this and boycott that. That does not work in this system when everything is
Mm.
tainted, when everything is rooted in this harm.
Wow.
There is not one company I know that is fully living the ethos of supremacy, coercion, discrimination, and exploitation free for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And so After I wrote the book, that's when um, people started getting pushback on. They didn't see the value in DEI. They didn't see the value
Mm-hmm.
in this, that, and the other. Um, and and I spent the last 2.5 years literally in limbo. Like, where am I going?
Wow.
Because I was not a DEI person. I never was a DEI specialist. I was a business strategist. And my
Yeah.
problem was I would come into these companies to advise them, and I could not implement the things that are in the book because you don't have any diversity, you don't have any equity, you don't
Hmm.
have any inclusion.
Right, right.
So it wasn't that that was what I came in to do, but without that, we can never get to where you say you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
But in that, a lot of the white men, because I was in the tech space, a lot of the white men who were everybody thought were stalwarts and proponents and paragons of virtue for these things. Those gentlemen started regretting it when people like me started coming in and just pointing out that they were the problem.
Mm.
And
Yeah, sure.
and that's when you started getting the manifestos and the pushbacks, and then they're starting to write these screeds online, and then their customers are like, wait a minute, I thought you were, yeah, it's easy to say you're for equity, inclusion,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
diversity when you don't have to give up anything, when you
Right.
think you're there already.
Yeah. Turns out I'm a libertarian.
Uh, you know? And then it turns out libertarian is
Oh
nothing more
man.
than conservative assholes.
Yeah, yeah,
So,
exactly.
um,
Nailed it. Nailed
and
it.
and so well, but they got away with it for a while because I can admit that when I wasn't heavily in politics, I thought I was a libertarian
Hmm.
because I believed in a lot of the things that was before I understood systems, institutions, and policies that are
Hmm.
rooted in the
Hmm.
myth of white supremacy
Yeah, yeah.
were at play. And because libertarian, the narrative of that, why, who wouldn't want that? The
Yeah,
freedom,
sure, sure.
it
Yeah, yeah.
sounds great, but just like capitalism as a theory, libertarianism in practice is not the same thing in theory.
Yeah,
And it causes a lot of harm because you can't
yeah,
make the assumption. The baseline assumption is that we're all equal. There's nothing in our systems, institutions, and policies that say that any of us are all equal.
yeah, yeah.
So as
Eh,
a theory, it doesn't work on its face.
Right, right. And it turns out we sometimes do need each other.
And that's but not but I'll yes, absolutely, I agree with that. And I'll add that is the problem. Whiteness has no community, so it does not
Yeah,
understand community.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
so for me, if I had libertarian leanings, I never negated or was outside of my community. It was we
Hmm.
all get there together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So I even my understanding of it was not what white dudes who were trying to live it. Um,
yeah.
and that just reminds me of I was about to watch this YouTube video, and I heard this story years ago, but it's about the libertarian community that end up they had to shut it down. It was like this town that they were all libertarians and they had to shut it down because bears were eating shit. They were, I mean, it was like so much trash because
Yeah.
because this is another reason why people who when everybody again these white dudes who thought they were being whatever wanted the organizations with no hierarchy. We're gonna
Hmm.
have flat
Oh yeah.
organizations,
Yeah, flat
and
structure.
why they
Yeah.
did not work was because for things to happen, somebody has to be held accountable. Somebody has to be in charge and held accountable,
Accountability. Wow.
and they made hierarchy the same as equal to supremacy, and that's not the same thing.
Yeah, wow. Okay. Interesting. Wow,
Hi,
this is so cool.
yeah, people need, if there's a task to get done, someone that needs to be assigned the task, and someone, either that person or someone else, needs to be held accountable for that task.
Right, right, right.
And without, so that one of the reasons why businesses are suck right now is when I go in their companies, they don't have any policies, procedures, and processes.
Hmm.
Everybody's just making shit up as they go.
Yeah, yeah.
The hiring process is different every time they do it. And it's like, that's not how you run a business. But people equated hierarchy with supremacy, and that's not the same thing.
Okay, wow. Interesting. Let's keep digging into profit without oppression because
Hmm.
I really wanted to have somebody on here to talk about economics and kind of I'm interested because you just said capitalism isn't the problem. That's a lot of people, especially in the DEI space, a lot of people will say, no, capitalism definitely is the is the problem. But I'm interested in kind of your going deeper on that and then talking about, yeah, what is next? What is the oppression free zone like that? How do we build that new thing?
And that's what profit without oppression was. It's the economic theory
Uh-huh.
because and so I don't know if that's capitalism, but I know it's not the capitalism as it's practiced. But
Yeah.
also I can say the people who try to push back on me and say you're wrong. Look at socialism, look at communism. It's all rooted in white supremacy. It's all rooted in
Hmm.
oppression, exploitation, everything. So we don't have a working any kind of economic or societal system that is rooted in supremacy, coercion, discrimination, exploitation free. So for me, as a black woman in this great United States, if white dudes get to make it up, so can I. So I am making up. So that is
Excellent.
what life
Love it.
beyond the supremacy myth is for me.
Hmm.
That is
Okay.
what that is.
Yeah.
It is how do we live beyond the supremacy myth? What does that look like?
Okay. Cool. 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 So from like this is really cool because for me the way I've been like it's hard for me to think beyond capitalism. So what I think like in my ideal I think about a an anti-racist new deal. So the new deal was cool in a lot of it was cool for white
Hmm.
working
White
class
men.
families.
Hmm.
It was great.
Hmm.
Like all of a sudden we had a thriving middle class. So
Hmm.
so what
Of
like
white people.
yeah, for exactly. So how do
Hmm.
we do that? How do we for me that's like the way I can think about
You
that's
will never,
so,
you will never have your dream until we reckon with the history and are honest
yeah.
about what the history is. Because current, just like right now, people are trying to get back to status quo. They don't want to move forward. They want to
Hmm.
stop the pain. And that's
Right.
what white people's problem is. Black people and everybody else are like, no, we're not going back there. We're going to do
Yeah.
something different or we're burning
Hmm.
this shit down. That's just it. Because you're not, because
Yeah.
what people in there saying, like, oh, so you were okay with Jim Crow? Is that what you're trying to? And then when you say that, they're like, no, 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 no. But that's what you're saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're,
Exactly.
and
Yeah.
so until we get leadership, we have no politicians, white politicians that I know of, who can speak into informatively, accurately, and honestly
Hmm.
about the racial history of this country.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
to me, you're not a progressive unless you could talk about racism. And I have a big problem with Bernie Sanders. A
Oh,
big fucking
good.
problem.
Okay.
Yes, no,
Yeah.
let's talk
Cool.
about this.
Yeah.
I have a
Sure. Sure.
big
Sure.
damn problem with
Absolutely.
Bernie Sanders
Cool.
because
Good. Good.
in 2016, he had the ear of young white men. He had
Hmm.
the ear of a lot of black folks too in the beginning.
Yeah.
What he did not do and what he continues to fail at miserably is talk about race. Everything is class. And once you start
Yeah.
ignoring race, then now you're ignoring me. I'm outside of your any solution you have.
Hmm.
And what people like me online ended up experiencing was a radicalized, quote unquote, white male disenfranchised group of people who I honestly could not discern from MAGA voters.
Hmm.
To me, Bernie bros and MAGA people behave the same fucking way online.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so that pissed me off because you had the youth, you had their ear. You just
Hmm.
refuse as an 80-some-year-old white man to talk about race.
Yeah.
Everything is class. And so you can never have your anti-racist new deal until people can talk about racism in
Hmm.
this country.
Right. Exactly. And yeah, and I, something I see over and over as I look at the history of the U.S. is just, making like incremental progress, but centering white comfort in
In
like
everything, and I
in
refuse to
everything.
do it.
Yeah,
And everything,
yeah,
and I refuse to do it.
yeah, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
We
yeah.
can't. We fucked up the Reconstruction because we had
Hmm.
to cater to the people at the South after the Civil War.
Yeah,
We screwed up with with civil rights movement because again, white enclaves, they got to separate what equal was.
Hmm.
Desegregation was a failed experiment for black people. White people benefited from that. White women definitely benefited from affirmative
Hmm.
action and DEI more than even black people, and that shit was for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
LGBTQ community, Asians, other black people from other countries have benefited more from the civil rights movement than black people in the United States.
Mm. Yeah. Okay.
And until we can actually reckon with that, and
Hmm.
people talk about reparations, I don't want reparations as people are saying it, because with the current systems, institutions, and policies, just like with the failed experiment of desegregation, now we had to have that experiment because without that experiment, people would always say, no, we had to have the experiment so you can see it fail, so you can see it's not us, it's this shit up here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't want reparations in our current systems, institutions, and policies because those current systems, institutions, and policies are designed to extract and exploit and
Yeah.
coerce. So as soon as you give me whatever you give me, the system is designed through taxing, through everything else to get that money right back. Now,
Hmm.
once the money back in the system, we can't say nothing because if white folks be like, well, we gave you your money.
Yeah.
Now go
Yeah.
sit down and be
Wow.
quiet.
Yeah. Wow. 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 Wow.
So
Huh.
these are very complex conversations that people want to boil down to these binaries of very simple things, and they can't be
Right.
these simple things.
You're right.
Nothing we do in current system, institutions, and policies that don't address race will not change anything. And in 50
Yeah.
years, your kids and grandkids will be in the same spot.
Yep. Yeah. Totally agree with. Yeah. Every. Yeah. I totally agree with that. Everything, every conversation, every political quandary or whatever that doesn't uh, eventually circle back to race
We
is
see it right
missing.
now. We're seeing it right now in that
Yeah.
Texas race. That's Texas,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Texas Senate race. We see it
Hmm.
right now in that Texas Senate race.
Yeah.
So Colin Red had to be the demure black man, right? He has to be
Yeah.
the
For sure.
perfect black man, right?
Right.
Like with Obama in the tan suit, you got to be the perfect black man
Yeah.
against what white people see is James Tellerico as this white. He's the Buddha judge. He's the
Hmm.
Newsom. He's the Shapiro. And black people, particularly after 2024, we are not. We don't want another white man in his. We don't want it.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
no longer being quiet about it. We used
Hmm.
to get along to get go along to get along. We're
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
and so as soon as Jasmine Crockett entered that race, it went from two men to a white man and an aggressive, angry black woman who's too
Mm-hmm.
much.
Yeah.
And so immediately the anti-blackness started.
Sure.
And
Right.
so and so everybody's like, oh, he can get the white vote and da 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 da, and he
Hmm.
can work with in this day and age. Nobody wants to work with this other side. The other side is not,
Yeah.
they need to be shut down so that
Yeah.
we can put in place what we need to put in place
Yeah.
because it's going to help them too.
Right. Right. Right.
So I'm not at this point when you're taking down slavery exhibitions, when you're taking, I mean, literally erasing, removing black people who's died for this country in
Hmm.
wars, you're
Right.
removing those monuments. You still talking about negotiate? What the hell are we talking about?
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Like Jesse Jackson's death happened this week as we record this, and
Hmm.
yeah, well, certainly crickets from this White House for sure, but not the same respect and yeah, it's not treated the same
Oh
as
yeah, it's
if.
like when John McCain died,
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
Bush died. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And it's there, and so and I'm about to say something that I always drop in here, and it's controversial to people, but I don't care because it is what it is, and it fits this conversation because this is also why you will never have your anti-racist New Deal.
Hmm.
White people need to understand that you're racist by default. There is no little bit racist. There is no you cannot be not racist. You cannot unlearn racism. What you can do because you are bathed in racism. It is in your blood. No matter
Mm-hmm.
how you want to be, I hate allies. I don't have allies. I have co-conspirators. So no matter how you want to, even ally is rooted in white supremacy, the myth of white supremacy, because it assumes that you are not a target of harm, which you're now realizing under this administration, white
Yeah.
people are a
Yep.
target of
Oh,
harm.
yep.
And that's what
Exactly.
black people have been saying forever.
Mm-hmm.
It's if we're taken care of, the most vulnerable are taken care of, everybody else will be taken care of.
Yes.
And no one wants to hear that. But
300%.
my thing is, you're all white people are racist. All I need to know is, are you interested in developing a consistent demonstrated anti-racist practice, or are you full on buying in with the myth of white supremacy?
Yeah.
I'm not going, I see people arguing all the time. Oh, he said that, but he's not racist. I'm not going with that. I'm not, you don't ask me what kind of black I am. I don't
Mm-hmm.
ask what kind of white you are.
Mm-hmm.
You are, I will engage with you as a racist until you show me otherwise,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well,
because
this,
that's safer for me
yeah. Oh, yeah.
and
Yeah.
for my community.
Right on. Yeah, I gotcha. So th your story, your work and is interesting to me because you you are working with part of your uh part of what you how you market yourself, market or whatever. You talk about wanting to work with white men and white women to
That's my target audience. I don't
yeah,
work. I work with white. Yeah. Okay.
but you're
So
not taking any of our bullshit.
no, no, nuh-uh. I don't. Okay. So I work with white people
Yeah.
because I have a unique perspective. I have a unique lived experience. I have a unique educational and professional expertise.
Hmm.
Um, and it becomes classroom management for me. So it becomes, stop doing that. This is why you're going to stop doing that, and this is what you're going to do instead. I was an
Mm-hmm.
educator. I was a youth worker. This is what I do.
Okay.
I got this. My
Okay.
master's degree is in training and development. I got this.
Hmm.
I was pursuing a doctorate in business administration, focusing on technology entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
I got this. So for me, working with white people, it is white understanding that I am educating the oppressor while also processing my own oppression.
Mm-hmm.
That means it's safe for me to put boundaries around that. When I'm
Yeah.
working with other marginalized groups, particularly black people, I have to hold too much space, and that burns me out, because
Mm.
I have to recognize that even coming in as a quote unquote expert, I am triggering and their trauma. So I'm
Yeah.
having to work with their trauma, which is triggering my trauma. So it's a cycle, and we don't get any work done because we're trying to heal. We need space to
Hmm.
heal. We need
Hmm.
so when we come together, it becomes about healing. I can't do that work of change. Also, let me be honest. I have no problem with saying this. My black ass people ignore. A white man they would listen to. So I need to train enough white men and women to be able to go out here and do this work and make these changes in
Hmm.
these spaces that I'm not allowed in.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
until someone does this work, white people will continue to breed generations of white supremacists. That is
Hmm.
what it is. And I'm just like, I can't, that is the work I'm coming here to do, to try to stop that trajectory so that enough white people can raise white children that are not white supremacists.
Yeah. 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 So are there stories you can tell or instances where there's a glimmer of hope that you see
Oh,
that
every day.
oh
I'm
good.
very
There you go.
hopeful.
There
That's
you go.
why I do
There you
this
go.
work. This work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
also, well, another thing about why I also deal with white people is you don't understand community, and you don't understand that a revolution without joy is a recipe for harm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because when all you have is a target and retribution and all that, at some point you can justify anything.
Mm-hmm. Hmm.
Blackness is joy. And that is what pisses white people off the most. It is that you have been taught that we are beneath you, and yet we are still happy. And you don't understand that shit fundamentally at all. You
Yeah.
don't understand why the world seems to be on fire and we're dancing with fans and we're going to barbecues, because
Yeah.
this is not new to us. I've never lived in a democracy. I've lived in the fascist system my whole life. This has been,
Wow.
the US is fascism to us. This is not
Yeah.
new. And
Yeah.
until we
Exactly.
have these conversations, but I'm hopeful because I come from, again, this is what white people don't understand. I'm hopeful because my community is hopeful. My
Yeah.
community has gone, my ancestors and elders have gone through hell with white people in
Yeah.
this country.
Yeah.
And we still sign up to go to war. And we
Hmm.
still have that flag. And that's what pisses me off about patriotism because it's not something that's exclusive to white people. But
Hmm.
again, going back to your how do we have an anti-racist New Deal? Look how many you went to another country, fought for the country, and you
Yeah.
come back here and you go back to sharecropping. You
Yeah.
go back to
Yeah.
you're being
Yep.
put back in your place.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. That and yeah. And Japanese Americans are put in concentration camps, and yeah, it's by the
And nothing,
same.
and I want to be clear about this because it's not an either or, and that's another white people stay in binaries.
Hmm.
Japanese were put in internment camps, and they were paid reparations.
Yeah. 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 Okay. Wow. 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 Wow.
Native Americans were annihilated. They were given land. They were
Hmm.
given sovereignty.
Hmm.
You can't just go on their land. It's their land.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Black people in the US, black people who are descendants of slaves, have never been given anything, and this whole country was built on our backs. And
Hmm.
until this country, as a collective, can deal with that, nothing freaking changes. So I let people argue about that shit, and I work over here because I need to build some other stuff. So when people do quote unquote wake up, there's something for them to turn to,
Yeah.
something for them to look forward to. I consider myself I can no longer like that work I used to do with Cause a Scene and why I can't do work with other black people. I can no longer be a place where you drop your trauma because that
Hmm.
harms me. Well,
Hmm.
what I can do is be a light so you can see beyond your trauma. So
Yeah.
right now, I am trying to be that beacon of light for those white people who are losing it right now, who don't see a way forward, because nothing in whiteness teaches you about joy, pleasure, play, and passion that isn't about control, entitlement, or competition.
Yeah.
You don't
That
know
is.
joy just to be joyful.
Yeah, that's so interesting that you say that because I've been a part of white progressive community like church communities that it's always the so somber, and it's always about the work that needs to be done, and there's so very little joy in
And you can't
those
do this work and sustain without burning out without joy. Because
yeah.
you have to have something to look forward to. Who wants to get beat down every day? You have to
Yeah.
have something to look forward to.
Yep.
Because if
Exactly.
you're just not, if you don't have anything to look forward to, then you can excuse everything you do.
Hmm. Yeah, exactly. Wow. Wow.
And this is why I say black women are the moral compass of this country, period.
100%.
And
Yeah.
our collective liberation is through us.
Hmm. Hmm.
And I say that because we're at the intersection of so much of this harm.
Hmm. Yeah.
And we still smile. We still dance. We still celebrate.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this season of Yell Fire is it's the Listen to Black Women season.
Okay.
So got four interviews in the tank, and yeah, I'm hoping to have a series of 10 conversations like this. So
Okay.
um, yeah, yeah. Um, any parting thoughts? I'm gonna point people to your book, Profit Without Oppression, and other resources in the show notes and all that. But
Well, I quarterly I do a Life Beyond Supremacy Myth. It's a free event, 2 hour event because I model this work because people don't
mhm,
get it, so I have to go out and
sure.
model it. And I'm building 2 communities, one called White Dude Rehab and one called White Girl Rehab, because this is also what I understand. White people can't do this work unless they can be honest and vulnerable, and you can't do that work in public
Hmm.
because we see what trolling is like.
Hmm.
And you also can't do that work in public because white people trying to figure this out cause harm to other people. So we need you in a space.
Hmm.
And it's 2 separate groups. because white men need to work on their own stuff and be vulnerable, and white women need to own. White men need to develop humility, and white women need to develop courage. And
Hmm.
so it's these two groups that I will be launching
Wow.
in the spring under the umbrella of Life Beyond Supremacy Myth. And then from there, we'll be going into parenting beyond the supremacy myth.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
Cool, cool.
So they can. Uh, I have a link of like they can sign up for an email list.
Uh-huh. Sure, sure.
And I can give that. Well, it's on my. You can just go my link tree. All that stuff
Okay.
is on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
book
Okay.
link. All that stuff is on the link tree.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'll put that in the show notes and that'll be
Yeah,
cool.
and that link for the event is April 4th at from 11 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. And like I said, I do that quarterly to so people can see the work because it's hard for people to explain it.
Yeah.
And so, and also if you're a white person who has the financial resources to support sustainable monthly, then there's something on my website about how to support this work because I should not be solely funding this.
Yeah,
I have my
exactly.
business, which is my advising business.
Uh-huh.
That's different from my community work. My
Okay.
business should not be funding work to work with white people. That
Yeah, yeah.
just should not be happening.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah.
Good. Good, good. All right. Well, again, thanks for your time.
And
Appreciate
thank
it.
you for the
And for
conversation.
yeah, it was great. Yeah, I'll let you know when yeah, I'm not exactly sure when it's going to come out, but I will let you know. And
Okay.
cool.
All right. Take care. Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks a lot. Take
Bye
care.
bye.
Bye-bye. Well, hey, thanks again for joining me, joining my guest, Kim. Thanks so much to Kim Crayton for joining me and having this lively, wonderful conversation. Yeah, it was, we don't hold back. And I appreciate that about Kim and always glad to have someone on the show who's not afraid to tell it like it is. I like to try to do that when I when I can. And I try to, live that way, live out loud. So thanks again for joining us. Again, like, subscribe, share, all of that stuff. Appreciate you. And thanks again for joining. Yell fire.